Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Bosch Clean Diesel. Good, clean, fun. Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems. Improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Learn more at HyundaiSonata.com.
Thanks for joining us today as we take a look at the latest developments in the global automotive industry. And General Motors announced this morning it's going to buy 200 million shares of its stock from the U.S. Treasury. GM will buy the shares for $27.50, which is well above where they've been languishing for over a year. The company will lay out $5.5 billion to buy those shares, but it still will not shake that government Motors label with this move. And that's because the government will continue to hold 300 million GM shares. But the government says it will start selling them over a 12 to 15 month period starting in January. And GM stock jumped 10% on the news. Well, it took nearly 3 months, but GM finally figured out who to put in charge of its massive purchasing operations. Grace Lieblein, 52 years old, is the new vice president of purchasing at GM, which oversees a budget of about $100 billion a year. And remember this name, though she's been with GM her entire career, starting as a co-op student. Grace Lieblein has been rocketing up the corporate ladder recently. A decade ago, she was chief engineer on GM's Lambda platform, the Buick Enclave, GMC Acadia, and Chevy Traverse. Today, she's one of the senior-most officers in the company. And somebody out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she is the first woman to head up purchasing at any car company. We've been reporting for years on the high cost of license plates in some major Chinese cities. Well, here's the latest. A new license plate in Shanghai now costs $11,000. And that's about the same price as the Toyota Yaris in China. And you know, to me, this makes car sales in China all the more impressive. Speaking of China, we've got the latest sales numbers on hybrids and electric cars over there, and they are miserably low. Only 10,000 of them will be sold in the country this year. And that figure's just for Chinese-made vehicles, since import sales are not significant enough to count them. But interestingly, the Toyota Prius is the top-selling hybrid there despite not getting any government subsidies. We all knew Ford was putting a diesel engine in the U.S. version of the Transit van. What we didn't know is that the diesel will be coming from South Africa. The 3.2-liter, 5-cylinder diesel, what they call the Duratorque diesel, is built at Ford's Strandale engine plant in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. If sales of this engine go well, we have to wonder if we'll see it in an F-Series truck. Hey, coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Why? Higher take rates, lower cost of ownership, longer range and better fuel mileage, lower CO2 emissions. Clean diesel, good, economical, functional. Bosch, invented for life.
And now it's time for You Said It. Jack 879 heard us report on GM's sky-high inventory levels, but he wants to know, how many days of inventory does GM have with cars, not counting pickup trucks? Well, it's a scary number, Jack. GM has 111 days of inventory of passenger cars. Cadillacs at 143, Buicks at 120, and Chevrolet at 105. At this time of year, because it varies from winter to summer, an automaker that's running its production schedule properly should have about 70 days of inventory. C-Tech heard us talking about Michigan. The home of the UAW has now become a right-to-work state, and he wants to know, what does right-to-work really mean? It seems these laws are more rights to management to do whatever to employees. C-Tech, right-to-work means you don't have to join a union if you don't want to, and you don't have to pay any dues or fees to a union if you don't want to. Up until now, if you wanted to get an hourly job at GM, Ford, or Chrysler in Michigan, you had to join the UAW. But soon enough, you can choose whether you want to join or not. Jim Bilecki is asking, is the Silverado still cam and block engines with push rods? Yeah, the latest generation of small block V8 from GM still uses a pushrod design. And while many people consider that passé, remember, pushrod engines tend to be more compact, lighter, significantly cheaper to manufacture, and easier to adapt for cylinder deactivation. Bradley is wondering what goes into choosing the North American Car of the Year award. Should how the car is marketed be considered in assessing CODI? No, it's all about the car, the styling, the quality, the performance, the fuel economy. It's not about the advertising or marketing. And Bob Auberton, like many people, is stupefied. He wants to know, how can a Ford C-Max and a Mazda CX-5 be even close to resembling a truck? Who sets this criteria? Well, Bob, in this case, the government does. Both of those vehicles are classified as trucks. That's for fuel economy purposes. But I can assure you, every year, the NACTOY jury has a slam-bang, drag-em-out argument over what vehicle should go in which category. Ali Saad wants to know, why are there still 2 truck divisions at GM? How many people really need a large pickup? Ali, the government wanted to kill off GMC when it restructured General Motors. They wanted to kill it off, that is, until they saw how much profit it generates. And now your take on those horns that honk when you lock your car with the remote. T. Bejma points out, just about every single GM vehicle sold today, might be every one, has the ability to customize the signal for the door locks with the Driver Information Center. So eliminating the horn is as simple as scrolling through a few menu items. And Seth says, sorry John, but you're wrong about the horn. I listen for my horn to beep all the time. Also, my vehicle, a Ford Excursion, will make a different horn beep if any of the doors are not completely closed. So there you got it, folks, the other side of the story. And thanks for all your letters and comments. We certainly appreciate getting them. Say, coming up next month, we'll be webcasting live from the Detroit Auto Show. We want to thank Chrysler for hosting us at its display stand. And we'll be bringing you the latest news on the show on January 14 and 15 with a surprise webcast on the 17th. More details will follow. Anyway, that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.